FTI community, I am joined by a Canadian photographer based out of London, Ontario. She is heavily involved in the London music and art scene, shooting for bands such as Days on Parade, Czech Hotel, Junko Daydream, and more. She's a self-taught photographer with a phenomenal portfolio that travels many different realms. FTI community, please help me welcome Jasmine to the Near Studio podcast. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I am doing so good. We now record these. We try to in the day because a lot of the earlier in your studio podcasts have been recorded at night with a really funky if it wants to go nightlight here. So it's been an adjustment period recording at like 1 o'clock, but I find that it's usually the best part. This has been a very long time coming. It was crazy. Like 2 months ago, I was just like, I'm going to shoot my shot. I want to have Jasmine as a creator of the week. And then you're like, so down. And I was like, hell yeah. In the very, very small time that we've gotten to know each other, both FTI to you and you to FTI, the band we share in common from like both of us knowing is Czech Hotel. Mm-hmm. How did you meet those friends?
I'm pretty sure that's interesting. I can't even remember. I mean, we've seen them for quite a while, probably over like a year. We've been going to their shows. And I'd kind of like I probably the first show I guess I shot for them might have been, I think it was at Groget's. And ever since, they usually get me to do like some of their shows, which is awesome. And I did a band photo shoot back when it was warm and we still had flowers, probably back in, don't remember the month, but it was for their like latest release and all that for promo. And yeah, it's been a while.
That's so awesome that like connections like that where like you're enjoying their music as a fan and then the band's like, oh my God, what you do is incredible. Now we want to bring you onto the team as a photographer, as like a publicist. So knowing that was a really quick connection, that definitely probably just multiplies between so many bands and so many like artists that you've worked with. You've been a professional photographer for over 2 years, but you found your love for photography as a kid. Your journey so far has had so many incredible milestones and achievements, from shooting concerts for bands just as Czech Hotel, punk rock flea markets, which I didn't know London had, personal shoots, city-specific events. Not only what you've been up to until today is incredible, but your portfolio and the portfolio website that you have that houses everything is just as great, especially the Instagram. But flipping to the flipping to the person behind the lens, introduce us to Jasmine. What are you all about? What's going on?
That's a hard question. You said no hard ones.
I did.
I don't know, like, I guess if we want to talk about like other than photography, that's also a hard one.
You say like music was like the kind of opening door for photography?
I guess like it's definitely, I mean, back when I was a kid, let's talk about that. All right, let's go there.
Yes, let's do it.
I remember one of the first times I really like I wanted to take a photo was I was in Alberta. I was in Edmonton with my dad for like the summer, and we were driving in the mountains, and it was just so beautiful, and like it like kind of like made me feel something. That was back in like 2014. We were driving. I had my iPhone. No, that's not right. That's my second phone. I had my Samsung like Galaxy S1 or something. It was literally the first Samsung phone. And I was taking pictures just of like the mountains and the glacier. We went to a glacier. And I got pictures there. And I think that was one of the first times that I ever was like, I want to feel moved by a photo. And then I was able to take it in high school at Beale, which was kind of like my introduction to actually using a real camera, like a DSLR.
Yeah.
And the music stuff kind of came later. I mean, I've always loved music. My favorite genres, I mean, I love all music, but I guess my favorite genres would be more in like rock, metal, new metal, hardcore, like all that stuff. Like I love guitars. I love photographing guitars. But yeah, like my photography, it kind of transitioned. That's an interesting story as well, kind of how I got here, which I didn't expect to really be here. Um, should we talk about that?
Of course, Annie, the floor is yours.
Okay, yeah. I guess yeah, it's like there's kind of two sides to my photography that I'm still figuring everything out on what I want to shoot and all that, but I do love doing music. And that kind of all started back, it was like 2 years ago in like July or something. We went to a friend's show they were known as $40 Henny. Now they're known as the Blacktops. They do like blues at this point. We went to their show for Canada Day just to have a good time, and I took some photos on like a little digicam. I don't think I have it here, but it was just a little like camera, not good quality or anything. And I got them, I took them, and I wanted to kind of do something with them. I didn't really like how they looked on their own, so I made these little like edits. They're kind of on the bottom of my page. They're like kind of merged with each other with like not effects, but like textures and stuff. And Brendan and Joey really liked that, so they like invited me back again to like take a like photo of their like next show. And
Okay.
then it kind of just snowballed from there, and I'm here now. So yeah, I just kind of started that way. It was pretty cool.
That's actually really neat because just like Czech Hotel, it was you going to enjoy something and then you kind of like set a challenge for yourself, but you also were able to connect with these bands. And like, I guess after so many shows, like the regulars that you'll see in the crowd, you probably recognize them from a previous show. And that's really how you build, like, not even just like networking, working relationships, but like friendships as well. Have you
Yeah,
ever
for
like
sure.
come across or made a friend out of like someone in the mosh pit where you're like, I love what you're doing, you love what I'm doing, let's work or let's just get to know each other?
I actually do have kind of a story like that brings to mind. I think it was a couple years ago. There's this event that we have called Stomp Fest,
Okay.
and it's just like it's a event with like live music bands and like vendors all in one. It was at Poacher's Arms here in London. And the first time that I went to the first one, I couldn't make it to the second one, sadly, but I took photos of the first one, and the pit was insane. I had never had so many bruises. I wasn't even in the pit. I was taking photos. I wasn't even in the pit, and I was all bruised up, which I don't mind that. I love it.
It comes with the territory.
Yeah. And like people, I remember at one point I got like knocked over into the speaker or something, and I held my hand up to like save my camera like automatically.
Yeah.
It's like a photographer survival instinct, like protect the camera.
The hand up. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember posting about it on my story, and a lot of people responded, and one of them, it was Kat. I I don't know her Instagram handle, but we kind of like talked after that, and like she had seen me in the pit, and she was like what kind of music do you like? We talked, and I said that I liked Rush, and she said she had a Rush shirt that she could like give me, and I was like, I don't have any Rush merch. That would be awesome.
Let's go.
So like yeah, we've been in touch. I've done other like photos for her. I did like headshots and creative like portraits for her in the summer. So we stay connected.
With a connection like that, I think what's really important that a lot of people don't understand is just how intertwined like artists are because from like a public eye looking in, and I can be entirely wrong, correct me, is from like the public looking into artists, sometimes the public thinks it's a competition between artists, but then little do you know, all the artists are supporting one another and they're giving each other like opportunities because just like with the camera going up and you posting it on your story developed into a relationship where she's like, hey, I love this band, I also love this band, here, have a t-shirt from this band. But the
Yeah.
public's probably looking at it like, why would they even be friends? They're trying to do the same thing. Like, I digress, I've talked about it one too many times before. You credit your secondary school as your place where like you really honed in on photography before going to Fanshawe, of course. And you've already kind of touched on it, but do you think your love grew because of the like your classmates and your teachers being in like a similar environment of for the love of photography, or do you think you were going to pursue photography no matter the environment because of your trip to Alberta?
Interesting. Um, I think it would be kind of like both. Like I knew I wanted to do it. That's why I kind of like took the class. But I could have find like I it definitely was like the teachers were very supportive and very cool. Um because I know that I took graphic design. I also thought that I like wanted to go into graphic design as a job, so I decided to try and take it as well in high school because kind of like a free trial.
Yeah, yeah,
um
exactly.
but I did not like it at all. I didn't like it. It wasn't my calling. So
Got you.
yeah, I definitely like think photography is kind of something I was always gonna get into if I like regardless of whether I had like a good experience in high school because I did not take good photos then. They're awful. But it was definitely just kind of like exploring and like learning for the first time like camera settings and how to use it. And yeah, my teachers were very supportive and they were awesome. Don't know any
What?
names anymore, but they were awesome.
Just know we're giving them love.
Yeah.
What was it between like where you thought graphic design may have been a calling, then you're like, no, strictly photography? Like, what sets the two apart where you enjoy one over the other?
I wouldn't say it's just strictly photography for me because I do like creating designs as well. I just posted like a couple days ago like that Canon vintage kind of
Yes.
ad thing. So that would be like kind of graphic design. But I guess like as a job, because our first assignment was to recreate like and create a new logo for a brand. And I was like, wow, this is hard. Like kind of the more technical, not the more technical, but like the, I guess graphic design, you kind of, there's a lot that goes into it. And like I respect like anybody that does like go into it. Shout out like CC for Art Rat Studio. She's a graphic designer. I love her. Um, and then like there's a lot that goes into it. And I kind of just like doing graphic design for me, like
Yes.
more like my
Yes.
stuff. I don't think I'd be able to do it as like an actual job because I definitely don't like it as much as I do photography.
That sums up graphic design so well. In 20, oh my goodness, the 20s are flying by. 2020, yeah, 2020 and 2021, I was doing photography, graphic design, FTI, and a few other things. And I remember with graphic design, I had the exact same mindset as you do, like creating for yourself as opposed to being like hired for something.
Mhm.
And there is an incredible musician in the community. His name is Shoop. He doubles as my best friend. And he wanted a cover art. And he's like, dude, I love what you create. Like, can you create something for me? And then once I opened Photoshop, because I didn't know about Illustrator, I did not
Mhm.
know the difference between the two. Illustrator was daunting. I looked at the Photoshop blank template and I said, I forget Shoop. I don't know what his music is. I don't know anything that he's about. But if I want to go create for me for Shoop, oh, 100%.
Yeah.
So you know when you're pitching an idea to someone and you send like a huge paragraph unselling yourself from the idea. It's like I totally could be this person, but I apologize that I'm not this person. He's
Yeah.
like, dude, calm down. These are really cool. And I was like, no, they're not. So like I totally get you. Like when you're creating for yourself versus like creating for a brand, a
Mhm.
project, two different brains going in.
Yeah.
With photography going into kind of like the brand realm, not only have you shot for brands such as the ones you posted the other day on Instagram,
Mhm.
but you also take it even one step higher when you do like personal shoots, maternity shoots, for example. That's like your first actual gig, like your paid gig, or like your first like
Mhm.
putting your skills to the test. How did this come about? And did you go in prepared and took on all challenges, or what did you learn from that experience?
Definitely learned a lot. Yeah, that was a while ago. Don't know dates, but it was a couple summers ago that yeah, it was let's start over. It was like one of my boyfriend's friends, she was having a baby and she wanted maternity photos. And I was like, I want to like get more experience. I want to like get into it. So I offered to do it. She did pay me. It's not much,
But still,
not much
yeah.
for that, but it was my kind of like first time like actually going out and doing it. And it was definitely intense. I remember the day of, I had went to Henry's and I bought the 50 millimeter EF lens because I didn't want to use the kit lens that came with my camera because they kind of suck, and I wanted the like background blur you know,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
makes it pretty. So it was like my first time, new lens, new environment, the sun, it was so harsh. The location, not the best really. I had a lot of ideas in my head. You know, I had like what I wanted it to look like, but the execution honestly wasn't like my favorite, but you live and learn, and I've grown like a lot since then. I've learned so much since then. But I think that was the time I used auto mode because like don't sue me. I used auto. I didn't know how to deal with the lighting conditions really because it was really harsh sunlight.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I just like about posing and just kind of everything was very new. And I definitely learned, I guess, I'm not sure what I really like. I learned what I wanted to improve on.
Yes, yes.
I like learned what I looked at the photos and I was like, I want this to look like this. And then I would kind of think about how can I make it become this. Does that make any
Yeah,
sense?
that makes complete. I agree with that. Yes, yeah,
I kind of like learned what I wanted to learn in the
yes.
future.
I find with photographers themselves, because you said it right there, like the don't sue me, like the automatic on a lens. Like I'm not gonna expose any names because I don't feel like it's a bad thing. There's so many photographers at like 12 punk rock flea markets and like downtown shows at like Jimmy Jazz who, if I ask them like, oh, are you shooting like automatic? They're like, yeah, because it's gonna capture it how I want it to. And I think that it's on the camera for a reason. Like if you could do manual as like your main focus, hell yeah, that's on you. But for people that like put a task to never switch to automatic, I think it kind of hurts yourself in a sense because it's there to help you out and it's all about capturing the shot in your head instead of like hoping to get a shot for like the National Enquirer or like a CNN front headline.
Yeah.
Um
It definitely like is good at this point, especially with newer mirrorless cameras. Funnily enough, it was actually like concert like show photography that made me like push to doing like all manual settings because I found that the camera would just get so confused with what I wanted it to do that it just like wouldn't work. So that also kind of ties into like getting more experience and like learning really how to use the settings on my camera. Like music photography really helped a lot because I don't use auto anymore. I just kind of set it up. I don't feel the need to anymore. I really do like understand like how to set up that stuff.
And you've honestly just said it for yourself. Like the maternity shoot, you went in with so many things that you learned, you thought you were prepared for, you had ideas in your head, and now you're like, I don't even touch automatic because like you've done so many events and so many shows where like the experience and the things you learned along the way made you who you are right now today.
Hmm.
And like looking back on a year today, you might look at a photo from right now a year today and go like, oh my God, like I could
Definitely.
have figured out a way to do that better, but that's just who you are at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
We can get into to be philosopher, but I can't even speak. We can definitely get into kind of be like all encompassing focusing. But I feel like as an artist, there's nobody harder on themselves than the artist because you're always
Hmm.
trying to like create that exact thing in your head. From the intimate setting of a maternity shoot to the explosive settings that are concerts. Your first paid music gig was April 2023, and I personally seen firsthand, as we just mentioned, how hands-on concert photographers can be,
Hmm.
especially choosing the right ones to make the environment so comfortable. Because this is so hard for me to word, and I hope this makes sense. Is the photographer definitely has like a stance, like people around him know he's a photographer, but you also have to be translucent and like sneak in and not like disrupt what's going around, kind of
Hmm.
like a ghost, because you're like, hey, like I need the space to capture a band shot, but at the same time, I don't want to ruin anybody's like experience from behind me. Um, take the FTI community through your first paid music gig, how this came to be about, but also like the show itself that kind of got you to go there and then enjoy next shows or like the show after.
Okay, I believe I remember which one that is. I think it was at Eastside Bar and Grill. It was for like $40 Henny, um, Goddess, Lorne, and Mental State. I'm pretty sure that that was the one I put down because I'm pretty sure that's the first one. Um, what was the question again? That you
Like,
wanted to know about it? Like,
no, you're all good. How did the show come about? Like, what was it that like
okay.
really brought you there? Especially to shoot like a four-piece lineup. It sounds like four bands, and you're the photographer for that whole night.
I did get invited by $40 Henny. They were the ones who I had seen previously and made those like little edits of. So they wanted me to go back and do like their second showing. And I decided to do like all of the bands for kind of like experience. I was like, I'm here. Why not? It was a good show. It was at East Side Bar and Grill. It's on Hamilton, kind of like the Hamilton Highbury area. They have like an awesome stage, and it's really a shame that they don't do more shows with like local bands there. They do a lot of like karaoke and like cover bands, like probably like a lot of cover bands, but not a lot of like shows like you'd see at like Poachers, like line up with the bands, or
Yeah.
I guess Palisade too, which is a shame because they have like a really nice stage and constant lighting. And I remember like feeling, I was like, oh my god, I have so much light to play, like to use, and like I don't have to like crank my camera settings crazy. That was like a really good experience as like a first paid, I'm going here to do photos of you like job. And a couple of the other bands wanted their photos as well, I remember, and that just made me feel so proud. I was like, thank you.
Of course,
So
yes.
like definitely after that experience, I was definitely keen to do it again and see what happens.
Hey there, RTI community, this is James Merrill here, and we're getting to work on my next short film right now, An Old Friend, and in doing so, we are seeking a little bit of additional help, because in order to get this film to the quality that we want it to be, and that we know it can be, it's going to be very expensive. So we've launched a fundraising campaign on Indiegogo, where if you'd like to, you can donate a bit of money towards the production of the film. If you go on the campaign, you can read a bit about the film itself, you can read about who we've got on our crew, exactly where the money's going to be going, examples of our past work, examples of what we want this film to be like, and there are exclusive perks that you can get for donating as well. So you can get your name in the credits, you can get early copy of the film, you can get Blu-ray DVD copy of the film as well when the time comes. So if you'd like to go check out the campaign, it would be really, really appreciated. And if you'd like to donate anything at all, it all goes a long way. It would just mean the world. Like, this is a very important film to me, and we all just want it to be the best quality that it can. So thank you. Take care.
I think that the bands know, and I guess it differs from band to band. Is if they're bringing a photographer such as yourself to shoot for them, they're also giving you that opportunity to network with the other bands. That like
Mm-hmm.
even that night, how they're like, "Hey, send me the photos," because I think when you're setting up a lineup, if one band says, "Hey guys, don't worry, we have the photographer tonight," the other bands can not only rest because now they don't need to go find a photographer, but they also get to build a connection, such as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Something you said there that really speaks out to Guelph because it's finally thriving, but there's definitely areas for improvement. Is how there's these bars and there's these venues and that there's these places that just have like the perfect atmosphere. They have an amazing stage. The acoustics sound incredible, but they don't do live local bands. They've reserved them for karaoke. And do I think that's backwards? 100%. Do I run these places? No. But I want to know, Guelph to London, what is the art scene like when like you name all these places? Is there like one that's for like the one go to? It's like, oh, we got to play here because that's like the local band venue, or is there multiple places that take on local bands?
We definitely have a few spots. We have a few like actual bars that do like shows like that, as well as like we had like a couple house venues, like Groget's, all hail Groget's, which they're currently like not doing like shows in their like apartment at the moment. So that's kind of out of the picture, but that would have been like the go-to spot would
Yeah,
be Groget's. I'm sure, I don't know if you've heard of it at all.
by name, not by
Yeah.
location. Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, that would be the go-to spot. I know we also have Dog Pit, who's running shows like all the time, run by like Endies and that crew. Um, I think that's the two house show venues I know the most. And we also have bars like Poachers and like Palisade Social Bowl, who do like Palisade does free shows, which is awesome.
Yes.
And a few others slipping my mind, but usually they're at like those spots.
Is there like a venue where if they mention it, like, hey Jasmine, we want to bring you into this, if you see the right venue, is that like your go-to where like no questions asked you go, or do you take on like all opportunities?
I try to take on like all like opportunities. I think like it makes me happy when people ask. I never want to like say no because, well, one, I feel like they might take their business elsewhere and I am like running a business. But two, like it's just a lot of fun. Like I like wherever you want me, whatever your show is, like I'll be there, you know?
Yes.
It doesn't really matter to me like where it is, but I like doing house shows. They're pretty fun.
I find that house shows specifically because it's like a crowd that's really there for that, as opposed to like in Guelph, we have a bar called Jimmy Jazz. Mm-hmm. And since it's on like the main street of Guelph, like anybody can really walk in, which is great. But sometimes the wrong crowd walks in and they definitely know that they're the wrong crowd. Jimmy Jazz is more of like like I'd say, like, for lack of a better term, like a hipster kind of like alt bar. So if you see like a frat guy walk in who just went to the most popular bar in Guelph from University of Guelph, like, you know, like the scene in SpongeBob where everybody looks at the front door and it's all silent. Sometimes that plays in my head, but it's like a house show. You're like, oh, everybody's here for one reason. A stranger walks in. That's a stranger walking into a house.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. We've hit the maternity stage. We've hit the explosive stage. Now let's take it all the way to what you do 5 days a week, 4 days a week. And that's you honing your craft at Fanshawe College. Not only because you have all of the resources at your disposal, but you also want to branch out into different types of photography. What or who has been the most beneficial to your experience learning photography in a quote unquote professional setting?
Regarding Fanshawe or like,
yeah.
Okay. I think like my favorite class is probably lighting with Sherry. That's what I had today. That's what I just came from. Like studio lighting. It's like something that like kind of looks like it would be easy. Like I think it looks like it would be easy. You know, you just like turn a light on and then go with it. But there really is a lot more that goes into it. And I think that class has been where I've learned the most, because I know like I'm in first semester. So like that's like kind of like the very basics. Like some people, they like know about their camera, or some people have just gotten a camera and they don't like really know how to use it yet. So I'm kind of like in between where like I know how to use my camera, but like I just want to like expand on like what I can do. So yeah, I think that class has really been the most helpful, because like I don't have like a studio set up. Like I have a couple lights, but it's nothing like what I have there.
Yeah. With like learning at Fanshawe and like all the classes you have you been able to kind of take something you've learned in a class that day and apply it to like a next show where you're like, oh my God, like that was actually like a godsend?
Not yet, because I think we're going to be learning. We're not learning like flash photography yet. And I think I don't really know that much about flash. I kind of just turn it on and adjust it until I get the like look I want. And
yes.
I think the like flash would like really helps in like house shows and stuff like that, where like it's really dark. So I think that in the future, when I learn more about flash, I'll probably be able to use it a lot better than I do, and like not just like flashing it in people's faces. Like I'll like learn how to do the bouncing. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry if I've ever flashed you in the face, because I probably have. I probably have, and I know it hurts.
That's incredible.
But specifically for like my other kind of photography, like anything else that I do, like other than music, I like recently did like the photos for Blake, Disco Division. She does like candles and like jewelry and all that. And that's kind of where like where my where what I've been learning kind of comes in, because like we haven't dealt with like humans in the studio yet, and I like did like product and kind of like model shots with that. So like just like what I've learned so far like helped me do that. Like I don't think I would have been able to do it as good if I hadn't been going for like those few months, and like I'll continue to like get better with it as I go.
Yeah. And you'll definitely be somebody that's influential on a lot of people's like photography careers, whether it's a hobby, whether they want to make it a business as well, especially the students who are fresh out of high school. They're going to tackle college to come in September. They're like, I want to learn photography. Now they can look at you and like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing per se. I know a little bit. And you're like, oh my goodness, I was definitely there at one point. Let me teach you. With the flash being said, I have owned this for, I want to tell you, like 4 years. I've tried 3 times to understand how to use it, and I'm still using the Canon flash. Do I regret it? 100%. Am I having fun? Same answer.
Yeah. No, it's definitely like also about having fun. Like if something like isn't fun and it's like just causing you like stress, just like don't do it.
Agreed.
Like, figure it out later. There's a time for everything. Like I don't know, I've learned more than I really ever thought that I would. Like I don't know, there's always something more to learn, and it kind of comes with time as well.
Agreed. Every day is an experience, and every day you learn something. Mm-hmm. It was cheesy hearing it in high school. I live by that motto every single day.
It's true.
Speaking of high school and Fanshawe, compare your kind of like the differences or experiences from self-teaching to professional learning. Do they differ or do they relate? Like what is like the main, I guess what's the Venn diagram? How do they differ and how do they relate?
I feel like going to school is like really structured. It like way more structured than kind of like learning yourself, because it's definitely hard to like learn yourself, because like you kind of just Google, why is my camera doing this, or like how do I get this light on this. It's kind of just like a Google tag team, like going like back and forth.
YouTube University.
Yeah, I definitely watched a few like videos like on YouTube in the beginning. I still do like watch like camera content and tutorials and all that. Like there's always something else to learn.
Yes.
Even on YouTube, even when going to school. But yeah, going to school is definitely more structured because they have like their like learning plan, and it kind of like flows like together. Like you learn this, then you learn this, then you learn this. Where like if you're learning on your own, you kind of learn in different places. Like you might be learning something that like is up here when like you're down here. So like you're learning techniques, but you don't really have like, I guess, like the skills. Does that make any sense?
No, that makes complete sense, because it's that, and you don't have like the people around you helping you, because when you're self-teaching, odds are it's just you, and the only time you have people around you are when you're on location. So if like you're in a classroom full of like other creatives, you kind of like flow and you match each other's energies. But when you're talking about like being up here, but like realistically, sometimes the skills are here. When you're self-teaching that, you don't have anybody to tell you that you're right here, because you're like, oh, I can do that. And then you're like, oh my goodness, I needed to learn. Yeah, I needed to learn. Stepping away from photography, because there's another place that you've created for another art realm, and that is the London scene, the Zine, which was inspired by your time working with the band Lovers releases at the time. Talk to us about London scene. Like, what was the driving force behind the Zine? And for those who don't know, what is a Zine?
I think it comes from like the word magazine. I don't know. It's either, everybody like kind of like debates on how to pronounce it. I think it's like Zine or Zine, but it comes from the word magazine. Yeah. It's like a mini magazine. It's like I think I have one. Do I have one over here? It's like a tiny little magazine that has like different pages and spreads and stuff.
That is a high quality one. Oh my god! It's like, oh, I'm
it is shiny.
Yeah, I like it. Like it's so crystal clear. Some of the ones I picked up in Guelph is like really like, I just smile and say, yeah, that's great. I have no idea what I'm looking at.
I printed it at the library. They have some like really nice laser printers. I think the laser ones make it glossy. They have some really nice laser like color printers, which is nice. And it's pretty cheap to print, unless you okay. I made a lot of mistakes when I was like printing that. It was insane. But we'll go back. Like a zine is like a little magazine. And like my inspiration for that was kind of like I felt I was invited to like their recording session. They were like recording their new is like a dual EP like release thing. It was awesome. You should check it out. There's a lot of like funky music on there, which I love it. And I was invited there, and I kind of felt like included in like a more deeper I got like a deeper look at how like the music comes to be. Like there's one thing like going to a show and watching them play, but then like seeing the recording is like really cool as well. And I wanted to be able to share that like with the world, you know? Or like I guess with the community in London, I wanted to be able to like share my experience and kind of write about what happened and like what they're doing, and so that they can get like a behind the scenes as well to like just make everyone feel more connected, you know?
Yes, agreed. With that, I think what is really awesome what you just said, and I actually have not heard it a lot from creators who are not musicians, is watching the progress of something be created, specifically music, because I feel, again, from the perspective of the public, they just think like the instruments just like flowed together like that. But musicians spend so much time perfecting like such a little tweak in their song that only they'll notice, but it may have took them like a month to get like demo 55 done. And so we had an FTI concert last November called The Relaunch, and the headliner, Average James, had 3 weeks to turn a bedroom studio recording, because he plays the piano, he has all the instruments in his room. He had to teach a room full of amazing musicians how to translate his songs from how they were created in a bedroom studio to a live performance. And what they did in 3 weeks was like so crazy, because my Uncle Fran said, did you hire these guys out of Toronto? And it's when you hear compliments like that, you're like, this is what the scene is all about, because you can make someone so impressed, but that didn't know who Average James was that morning. And now I bet my Uncle Fran has Average James as a daily listen on Spotify.
That's awesome.
With it be, I can't stress enough, and this might turn into a relaunch podcast, I apologize. Average James, Emerson Corleone, and Shoop, three of the most insanely talented and honestly really three great people. I'm biased, they're good friends. But let's go back to your world. With it being focused solely in London, how would you describe the overall art scene in London?
It is a lot like more as vibrant. It's a lot more vibrant than like I would have ever thought. I mean, like I grew up in London, and I kind of thought that there was nothing here. Like when I was like, London's so boring. Like we don't have anything. It's just full of old people, and I don't know. No. You know, like that's our reputation as well. Like that's our reputation. I don't know if you have that concept, like reputation.
1,000, a million. Yeah.
Like that's just kind of like what I thought. That's what everybody thinks. But like when you really get in there, like there are so many people like making amazing art. Like even in like the actual art, like painting, drawing. Like we have like Forest City Gallery, who like showcases a lot of like not upcoming, but just like smaller artists and upcoming artists, and it kind of gives them a space to show their work. My partner's artwork. I don't think you can see it back there. I don't know if you can. He had it shown in their members show, and it's just like a good opportunity for like smaller artists who are just starting out to like show their work in a gallery setting, which is something that can be really hard to do because of gallery culture and all that, you know.
Agreed. Yes.
And we also have a few like more official galleries that curate their artwork and have rotating like I guess what would it be called, like rotating shows.
Yeah.
So like we have like a lot of like art here, and we have a lot of music with like literally countless local bands. It's awesome. Like you can if there's a lot of them. I can name them on more than that. Way more than that. And that's just, I don't know, it's not something I ever would have imagined could come out of London, but it is. And we have a lot more than that too, like a lot of small businesses with like jewelry, anything you can think of. There's probably a small business here in London that like will sell you that.
That's fucking awesome. That's
and
awesome.
Yeah, we do have like a punk rock flea market. I didn't know that other cities did that. I thought it was just us.
Exact same feeling. Like, go off to London.
Like, I think like punk rock flea market Hamilton followed me or something, and I was like, wait, there's other ones?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I'm glad that other cities do that as well. But that's something like new that I found out about London as well. I think I went like 3 years ago was the first time I went, and I was like, I didn't know we had anything like this.
I think it is so funny that we had the exact same thing with the punk rock flea market, because punk rock flea market Hamilton also followed me, and I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Dude, what do you mean? And there was I'll feel so terrible if I get her name wrong. I think her Instagram handle is Club Sabrina, if I'm talking about the right person. I had a really awkward encounter with her at the Guelph one. I'm like, oh my goodness, you've been here before. She's like, nope, my first one. I was like, oh my goodness, like you look so familiar. Like I look like you've seen her. She's like, have you been to a Hamilton one? I was like, I didn't know Hamilton had them. This is actually kind of, I love your art, by the way. And just trying to get out of that. And I was just like, oh no. But like, when I figured out there was a punk rock flea market in other places, it really encouraged me to go check them out. Because I've heard of cities where they have like a punk rock flea market. They'll bring like 3 vendors on, no promotion. And then it's just like 6 hours of 3 promoters. But like with a Guelph and a London one, I guarantee your guys' matches ours, if not takes ours to a new level. It's a whole market hall, live music, probably 30 to 50 vendors. And the art and the energy in that room is, you can't compare it. There's no comparing it.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about kind of having like your own table or one, or have you had your own table at one?
I have not. I know that you do have to like apply.
Yes.
I don't really have many. Like I would probably want to sell like prints and stuff and like framed photos. But I haven't really gotten into like printing many photos yet or framing them or anything like that. So I haven't gotten into that sphere yet.
I want to tell you, just because firsthand I witnessed it with my good friend Stefano. His Instagram handle is Hometown Shooter. He did his first one in December, and he set his booth up, I want to tell you, in like 10 minutes. Doors open at 11, and he sold so many prints that day. And I watched this guy's smile just get bigger throughout the day. And so I think that's where a photographer really does flourish, is like punk rock flea markets and like similar events. Even if you have like a little binder where people can go through your photos, because who you're looking at might be your next client. It's like, hey, love your photos. By the way, I'm in a band. By the way, I do this. And you're like, let's work together.
That's a good idea. I'm going to have to try to get in next time.
And the commute to Guelph is about 2 hours, but I work alongside Nick, who hosts the Guelph ones, and we're always looking for more people. I'll tell you a lot more about that after the recording. But what is so appealing and so awesome is how community driven and involved you are. I don't need to go through everything because we just talked about absolutely everything. You honestly have your hands wherever people will say like, hey, I need your help, Jasmine, which is not only incredible, but it also kind of like reflects who you are as a person, not even just as an artist. Do you look at everything you do as a relationship to build, or do you view it from the aspect of just something to add to your portfolio?
I definitely like building relationships. Like that was kind of ties into like London scene, is kind of like building relationships between like the community, the creator, and like everybody. It's like I really do like to think about it as like trying to like just make friends. Like I would love to. I love being friendly with people, and so I definitely see it as like a way to like meet people, and like they can share their experiences with me, I can share mine with theirs, and like we can both become better people from our relationship, hopefully.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And yeah, it's definitely more about connecting with people. Like that's kind of all ties together.
That's incredible. What does it mean to you to like have built such an incredible circle of people to like not even get like the perfect shot, but like just like an incredible overall group of like striving artists.
It definitely like means a lot to me, and I never really thought that I'd be in like I guess a position like that where I'd be surrounded by so many cool people. Um yeah, like it's I don't even know, like it's just really cool. Like I love seeing like other people's work on the timeline as well. Like usually on Instagram I'll see like other people's photos and I'm like, I love that we do the same thing. We both have like our own unique styles and all that. And even like in bands, I love seeing bands. I love to see what they create and how like we all get to kind of work together to like promote and I guess just share like share the experience together.
Yes, yeah, no,
That makes
100%.
sense. Like we all get to work together on this kind of like community because it really is just like a connected community because yeah.
Do you have anybody that comes to mind? Like when it's like where you've got from now to that, like sorry, from then to now. Like any stories of like, wow, like I'm gonna remember this forever. This one's going top of the memory bank.
Oh, like definitely that experience with lovers and them having me like come and be like just be in their intimate like recording space. Really like it just made me feel good and I hope I get to have that experience like more. I'll definitely like remember that moment as kind of like had like like a key marker
Yes,
of
yeah.
like of that and like every time I get like booked to do like a show to take photos for a show is just kind of like makes me feel like more involved in the community and like it kind of like builds on that like every one of them builds on it, you know.
I find that the mindset you have, I can relate to with like feeling like, how did I get myself surrounded by all of these cool people? Especially when it comes to the feeling of imposter syndrome. A few weeks ago, I had my girlfriend and I were driving to Tim Hortons, which is ironic because I have Tim Hortons in front of me. Not an addiction, I promise. And I was like, babe, I feel like I have imposter syndrome. She's like, why? I'm like, I don't know how I'm surrounded by these people that are so cool, and I don't know if I offer anything. And she basically told me in a nice way to shut up. She didn't say shut up, but that's
Yeah.
how I took it.
Yeah.
But it's just like the age old thing. Like you really don't know where you've got to because you're so focused on the now and the future rather than the experience that really led you up to it. And that honestly goes hand in hand with the In Your Studio podcast's number one question that I ask everybody, and it surrounds vulnerability. Because photography is all about being vulnerable from your standpoint to your subject standpoint. I think as a photographer, you chase capturing that perfect vulnerable shot because that photo can speak 1,000 words and portray so many emotions. How does vulnerability play a factor in your career or like your day to day of being a photographer and an artist?
I definitely think that it does take, I guess, like during photo shoots, it does, there is like vulnerability on like the side of the client. Like it being in front of the camera is always like stressful no matter like who you are. It can be
Yes.
stressful at times. And then I guess I don't always like being in front of the camera. There's a reason that I am behind the camera.
The photographer's
Um,
motto.
I know. But sometimes I do get in front of the camera to like film videos and all that, and it is to like kind of share like my behind the scenes because like I get to share other people's behind the scenes. I should share mine as well.
Yeah.
Which is a sort of vulnerability to show like your setup and like kind of like the process. But yeah, it really is more on the like client or I don't want to call them client, but
But
the
yeah,
person who
yeah.
is being photographed has the most kind of vulnerability, I think. And I do think that that is, how do I say, like, it can be really, like, I don't know what the word would be for it. Um, it really can, like, say a lot. Because, like, I know, like, taking photos, like, I guess portraits,
Mhm.
um, it oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say.
No, you're fan. No,
what I'm trying to
everything
say.
you're saying completely makes sense. Like, it's
Um,
making them like the people around you comfortable to be
yeah.
vulnerable. Do you
I
have like?
was.
Go ahead. No, that's my bad. No, you're good. You're good.
I think I was gonna say what you were gonna say. I try and I like putting on music when we have like photo shoots when there's like in the studio. I like to put on music and like just be super chill because like I want to make them like feel as comfortable like as they can so they can like pose the way I want to, and I try and like model like poses when I can. Because some of them are awkward, and then it comes to my mind, I'm like, is this pose even physically possible? Because there's a lot of times where I'm like, can you even put your arm like that? Like, does that even like work? So like, I like to like try and model poses that I want like people to do. So I think that can kind of make them more comfortable in front of the camera as well.
Do you have like, I guess it really depends on case by case, but do you have a way you approach like, okay, the first 20 minutes is going to be like me introducing myself, like we're kind of like breaking the ice, then we get into like what we're here for today. Do you have like kind of like a cookie cutter strategic way of like it, or I guess it depends on the client or the person?
Yeah, not quite yet. I haven't done too many like I guess shoots that would kind of entail that. Um, but I mean, the setting up part usually, like in my most recent one, they like everybody was there while I was setting up because we all arrived at the same time. So that kind of like gave a buffer between like them getting there and shooting. And I
Yes.
mean, watching me set everything up, well, like I got some help, but like watching me set everything up would probably be funny. I don't know. Like I'm pretty short, and like watching me kind of try and struggle with the stuff is like kind of funny to me. And I feel like that might make that kind of would make me feel a little a little at ease. Like we're all doing our own thing. Like my job is to be the photographer, their job is to be the model, and we're all like just doing our jobs.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what
You're
I'm
there for the
saying?
same reason. It's actually so funny when you talk about setting something up like a backdrop like this one behind me, because some days I'll be working till like 6:30. My girlfriend's already home. I'm like, "Hey, can you set up the backdrop?" And in my head, I'm like, "Oh my God, I don't know if she can because this thing has to touch the roof." Thank God
Hmm.
for the extendo poles on them. But sometimes I'm just like, I think I like setting up because I know exactly what I want. So if I ask her to set up, I'm like, oh my God, I'm putting her to a task that I feel terrible for that I
Yeah.
should just do when I'm home. Um, I would say let's talk about goals for the future, but it also really sounds like you're accomplishing your future goals week by week, if not day by day, because you're dabbling in so many realms. Like there are so many avenues where we could have took the conversation that we didn't talk about, but that's always a reason for have a second interview.
Yeah.
With everything you've talked about so far, your dreams and aspirations, what is a goal you've set for yourself this year? Or is there anything on the horizon that you're working towards accomplishing?
That is hard. Like a general goal, like my kind of goal right now is to like finish school, which
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
like that is like kind of my goal or like a task right now. And then like I kind of like after that I'll see where I can go because like you never know, like you could get into like commercial photography, like corporate portraits, like headshots.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different avenues that I could like go into. So like my goal right now is kind of like just to keep doing what I'm doing. Hopefully I just keep getting asked to do band shoots. It's what I love to do. It's like I wouldn't say it's not like a money maker. Like it's not like I don't like charging. I don't like charging bands. I'm like we're all in this together. Like I don't like charging them too much. I feel like my rates like are pretty fair for it.
Hmm.
Sometimes they're like you should raise it, and I'm like no. Like I bands like I don't want to be taking all your money.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like I love it's like kind of like what I love to do. It might it not be like my career in photography as a whole, but it is what I love to do, and I just want to like keep doing that. But yeah, I guess like finish school and then see what is next for like the career part of photography, you know?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I think that says a lot about your character, and that is like one of the main things that the FTI community should take away from this conversation is going to do something for a band, like shoot their photos, because you're a fan first and a friend first. Sorry, you're a friend first and usually a fan second.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people who bring their cameras to the shows that are going to take photos anyways. They're going to bring out their iPhone anyways. So if a band like Lovers or Czech Hotel know that you're coming out tonight, they're just going to be as happy to see you if you didn't bring the camera. Because you're building these connections, you're building these relationships. And at the end of the day, you're going to do it regardless if it's your passion, your career. To end the conversation, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. If you thought some of these questions were hard, these are the 3 hardest questions that are going to be asked. I hope you are ready.
Okay.
Number 1, being a massive music fan, and I mean, like, I feel like you and I could talk for hours about music alone. Put the FTI community onto some new music to listen to. It can be independent. It can be a friend who hasn't even made their stuff public, or it can be like a Chappelle wrote, like anything you're listening to.
Okay. That is a little hard because like I just literally they're like name 3 songs and I'm like I've heard every single song that this band has put out, but I couldn't name you 3.
Yes.
They're on my playlist right now, but like I couldn't tell you. But I guess like a local band to London that I just love and adore, and I love their music like a lot would be Junko Daydream. I know you mentioned them earlier as who I've shot. I've definitely taken some photos of them, but like their music is I love it.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, I love a lot of their music. A House That God Built is one of my favorite songs of all time. They were, I think that on my Spotify Wrapped, that was one of the songs that I listened to like the most last year. As for other bands, I think you gotta check out Lovers as well.
I am after this, yes.
I'm plugging the London local bands for this one because like they do a lot of, it's like definitely like experimental and like nothing I've really heard before, but it's very good as well.
Oh yeah. Well, first off, what are the genres like of those 2 bands?
As Junko would be like hardcore. I think they call themselves post-hardcore.
Okay.
And Lovers, I'm not sure what genre they'd be. I think they call themselves like punk, like psychedelic punk.
Yeah.
So I think
to add a question to this, if you were to create music, what realm do you find yourself going towards?
If I was to make music, I don't think I mentioned it yet, but I love like 80s synth pop. Like
okay.
I guess like Duran Duran, Aha. And I'm thinking really hard on this, like Pet Shop Boys. I adore that kind of music as well. I know that people don't really make it anymore, so if I was to make music, I would make like 80s synth pop with maybe like a hint of rock. Is that like sacrilege? I would add in a little bit of rock.
Yeah, we've seen genres that you would never believe would mesh so damn well.
Yeah.
We're gonna look back on this year from now. Maybe your music career has taken off. This next one, again, we can stick to the London scene because it kind of ties into the first one. Name an artist or a collective, or put an S on either artists or collectives, you recommend the FTI community to check out. We can say the first 2. We can add 20 more.
Okay, let me think. Definitely, I mentioned earlier Art Rat Studios. She's like a graphic designer. Cece, she does graphic design. She also does tattoos. I don't know if I can physically pull my sleeve up far enough to show it, but I have the spread tag from her. From when she was first tattooing.
One of the coolest tattoos ever.
I have another one. It's a flower from a flash tattoo. I have 3 tattoos. They're all from Cece. She's amazing.
That ranks top 5 tattoos of all time. It's so simple, but it's so fucking awesome.
I love it. She was literally practicing. She was like, "Guys, I'll like give you this," because I'm like getting into it, and I went for it, and I love it.
Is there a realm, like not even music, but like is there like someone you've met at school in like a different art class where you're like, holy shit, what you're doing is so cool?
No, I wish that was the case. Like I want to meet more people at Fanshawe and like see what they're doing. all the fine art students are doing really cool things, but I don't really know anybody personally. I know that my partner, I don't want to plug my partner, Abel Gingrich, A. Gingrich art, or I'm literally blanking, but he does a lot of paintings, and yeah, they're really good. Can you see that in the back there?
So for
right
hell yeah, yo,
and look, let me spoil some stuff. I don't know if I can spoil, but
oh my god,
he does a lot of like painting, oil painting, and mixes collage with painting, and it's super cool.
That quick one you just showed at the front, holy shit, wow.
Let's go look at it. You know what?
I know. That was so crazy. That is wild. What? Oh my. That is something I would put on my wall in a heartbeat. I am checking this portfolio at ASAP. Wow. And last but not least, I'll make the lighting dramatic. Time to plug yourself, where people can find you, anything at all, anything coming up. The floor is yours.
Literally watch me forget my own username. No, on Instagram it's diverted.studios, I think. I think that's like the only platform I'm on. I'm also on like TikTok at Diverted Studios, but I gotta start posting on there more. But yeah, mainly Instagram. You can also check out my portfolio. I gotta update it with my new work from Fanshop, but link is in bio.
Yes, it is. And in description.
Yeah, I'm mostly on Instagram, and then I'll be on TikTok soon.
Hell yeah. FTI community, this is the first conversation I have had with an artist that I have met this year, and I feel like this will be top 3 podcasts of all time. I'm sorry to the other 9 at the time, but getting to know you from like a really knew about your art career, but the person behind the lens was extraordinary. Thank you so much. This was so awesome.
Thank you.
Do me a favor, FTI community, hit the link in the description. I don't know where I am in this video, but it's probably down there somewhere. Yeah, I hope everybody has a great day. Have a safe drive to work. Have a great sleep, or wherever else you listen to podcasts. I'll catch you later. Goodbye.